Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode to my channel. We're thrilled to have you here with us today. Whether you're a seasoned learner or just starting out, we've got something exciting lined up for you. Today, we're diving into the colorful world of English idioms. Idioms are fascinating expressions that can make your language skills more vibrant and engaging. They add a splash of color to everyday conversations and can make your speech more relatable and interesting. Now, if you're learning English, you've probably come across these curious expressions and wondered, what on earth does that mean? Ye kya MTLB hai? It's a common reaction because idioms often don't make sense at first glance. They can be quite perplexing. Don't worry, you're not alone. Idioms are like puzzles, adding a layer of richness and nuance to language. They challenge us to think beyond the literal meanings of words and explore the cultural and historical contexts behind them. They can be tricky to grasp at first because their literal meanings often have nothing to do with their figurative ones. For example, the phrase kick the bucket, balti ko lat marna, doesn't actually involve kicking a bucket at all. It means to pass away, Mr. Jana, which is a completely different concept. But that's what makes them so fun, right? Once you get the hang of them, idioms can be a delightful way to spice up your conversations. They can make your language more dynamic and can even help you connect with native speakers on a deeper level. So, buckle up, apni seat belt band len, as we demystify some common English idioms, understand their meanings, and see how you can use them confidently in your everyday conversations. Let's get started. By the end of this session, you'll not only understand these idioms, but also feel confident using them in your daily interactions. Ready? Let's dive in and have some fun. Alright, let's talk about those late-nighters. You know, those times when you're up way past your bedtime, usually with a looming deadline. Maybe it's a work project that needs to be finished by morning, or perhaps it's a school assignment that you've been procrastinating on. Either way, the clock keeps ticking, and you find yourself in a race against time. In English, we have a phrase for that, burning the midnight oil dlana. This phrase paints a vivid picture of someone working diligently through the quiet, dark hours of the night. Imagine this. Back in the day, before electricity, people used oil lamps for light. These lamps were essential for anyone who needed to stay up late, whether they were reading, writing, or working on some important task. So, staying up late meant keeping those oil lamps burning well into the night. The soft flickering light of the oil lamp was a constant companion for those burning the midnight oil jlana. Today, we use burning the midnight oil jlana, figuratively. It's a way to describe the effort and dedication required to complete a task, often under pressure and with limited time. It means to stay up late, usually working or studying. This phrase captures the essence of those long, quiet hours when the rest of the world is asleep, and you're pushing through to get things done. For example, you might say, I was burning the midnight oil jila tha, to finish that history paper. It's a phrase that conveys not just the act of staying up late, but also the determination and hard work involved. It's a more evocative way of saying you were working hard late into the night, isn't it? So the next time you find yourself staying up late to meet a deadline, remember, you're burning the midnight oil jala ri hain, just like those who came before you. Sometimes what seems like a bad situation can turn out to be a good thing in the end. Life has a funny way of surprising us when we least expect it. We often find ourselves in situations that seem dire, overwhelming, or just plain unfortunate. But if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, we might see that these challenges are actually opportunities in disguise. Chupe hu avsr. That's what we mean by a blessing in disguise. Chupa hua verdhan. It's a concept that reminds us to stay hopeful and open-minded, even when things seem bleak. Sometimes the universe has a way of redirecting us towards something better, something we might not have considered otherwise. Think about it. A blessing, verdhan, is something positive, something beneficial. It's a gift that brings joy, relief, or improvement to our lives. We all cherish blessings, verdhan, because they make our journey a little bit easier, a little bit brighter. And a disguise, bes, is something that hides the true nature of things. It's a mask, a cover, something that conceals what's really there. Disguises, bes, can be tricky, making it hard to see the truth right away. So, a blessing in disguise, chupa hua verdhan, is like a hidden gift, something good that comes disguised as something bad. It's a reminder that not everything is as it seems, and sometimes The best things in life come from the most unexpected places. For instance, imagine you lose your job unexpectedly. It's a shock, a moment of panic and uncertainty. You might feel like the ground has been pulled out from under you, and it's hard to see any silver lining. Kandikipert. It's a terrible feeling, right? The fear of the unknown, anyat kadidar, the worry about the future, it all weighs heavily on your mind. But this is where the magic of a blessing in disguise, chupa hua verdun, comes into play. But then, that loss forces you to rethink your career path, and you end up landing an even better job. Maybe it's a role that aligns more with your passions, offers better pay, or provides a healthier work-life balance. Svasthit kari jim santon. Suddenly, what seemed like a disaster turns into a new beginning, nishurat. You might say, losing my job was actually a blessing in disguise, chupa hua verdun. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, life's setbacks are just setups for something greater. So the next time you face a tough situation, remember to look for the hidden blessing, chupa hua verdun. You never know what wonderful surprises might be waiting just around the corner. Let's face it, life throws us curveballs. Sika samna kren, jeevan hemen mushkilan deta hai. Sometimes we have to do things we'd rather avoid, things that make us uncomfortable or scared. Kabi, himen aisa kam karne, paddite hein jinhen hem tatal na kate hain, jo hemen ashtya dravna bennate hain. That's when we bite the bullet. Tibiakmen kagdadavi goli nigalni paddati hai. This idiom has a rather gruesome origin, but don't worry, we won't dwell on that. Is muhavre ki upti kafi biang hai, lekin sintaan kren, hamos per dhyan hien denge. The important thing is, it means to face a difficult situation with courage and determination. Mitivi purn baat ya hai ki iska mental bhai sas ardar de sankalp ke sath katin sthiti ka samna karna. Imagine you have to have a difficult conversation with a friend, or maybe you need to see a dentist. Kalpna kren ki aapko ek dost ke sath katin baatcheet karni hai ya shayad aapko dinan chikits ke pas jana hai. These aren't exactly fun activities, but you know you have to do them. Ye bilkul mujadar gatividhiyan nahin hain, lekin aap jante hain ki aapko inhen karna hi hai. You might say to yourself, okay, just bite the bullet and get it over with. Aap khud se skte hain, tik hai kadavi goli niglo auri siktim kro. Chapter 4. Okay, this one's a bit morbid, but bear with me. Kick the bucket, tang kinkna, is an informal and often humorous way of saying someone has died. Now, where does this idiom come from? Well, there are different theories, but one suggests it might be related to the way a person's legs might twitch or kick after death. But remember, this idiom is very informal. You wouldn't use it in a serious context or to talk about someone's death in a respectful setting. It's more likely to be heard in casual conversations, or maybe in a movie where someone says something like, "Old man Withers finally kicked the bucket. Budi admi Withers ne akhirkar tang ki inkli." Chapter 5. Have you ever heard someone say something happens once in a blue moon? Kb suna hai ki kuch jijen once in a blue moon hoti hain? It's a fun way of saying something happens very rarely. Yi kne ka ek mjadar trika hai ki kuch but hai kam hota hai. Now, a blue moon doesn't actually refer to the color of the moon. Ab blue moon vasta menkant ke rang ko sandarbit niyan karta hai. It's a term for the second full moon that occurs within a calendar month, which is a rare occurrence. Yi ek calendar mहीने में होने वाले दूसरे पूर्णिमा के लिए एक शब्द है, जो एक दुर्लभ घटना है. So, when we say something happens once in a blue moon, we mean it's as rare as, well, a blue moon. To JB te hain ki kuch once in a blue moon. Hota hai tu mara mtil bhi hai ki ye utna hi durbha hai jitna ki han blue moon. For example, you might say, my best friend lives abroad, so I only see her once in a blue moon. Udaharan ke liye aap kiske hain? Meri sabse achi dost videsh mein reti hai. Isli main use keval once in a blue moon. Dekta huun. Chapter 6. Imagine you're at a party and you don't know anyone. It can be a bit awkward, right? That's when you need to break the ice. BRP Todna. No, it doesn't involve actual ice. Barf. It means to start a conversation or an activity to ease the tension in a social situation. Samajik sthiti mein tanav, kokam karne ke liye baatcheet ya aktivity shuru karna. Think of it like breaking the ice on a frozen lake. Jais jami hui jheel par barf todna. Once the ice is broken, barf tutne ke baad, it's easier to move around and interact. So, you might break the ice, barf todna, at a party by introducing yourself, telling a joke, myak karna, or asking someone about their interests. उनकी रुचियों के बारे में पूछना. Anything to get the conversation flowing. बातचीत को शुरू करने के लिए कुछ भी. Alright, let's talk secrets. Tadiq hai, kloraj ki baat karte hain. Spilling the beans means to reveal a secret, often unintentionally or prematurely. Raj kolna ka mtel bhi hai kisi gupt baat ko anjane, main yasmai se flay bata dena. Imagine you're planning a surprise party, and someone accidentally reveals the secret to the person you're trying to surprise. Kalpina कीजिए कि आप एक सरप्राइज पार्टी की योजना बना रही हैं और कोई गलती से उस व्यक्ति को राज बता देता है जिसे आप सरप्राइज देना चाहते हैं. You might say, "Oh no, you spilled the beans." आप किसके हैं? Oh नीम, तुमने राज खोल दिया. The origin of this idiom is unclear, but it's a fun and expressive way to talk about letting a secret slip. इस मुहावरे की उत्पत्ति नहीं है, लेकिन यह किसी गुप्त बात को बताने का एक मजेदार और अभिव्यक्तिपूर्ण तरीका है. Feeling a bit sick or unwell? Toda bimar ya aswath महसूस कर रहे हैं? In English, we often say we're under the weather. अंग्रेजी में हम अक्सर कहते हैं कि हम under the weather हैं. Now, you're not literally under the weather, of course. Ab abskmuk mausam kanisin hein beshk. It's just a common way to describe feeling ill. Ye bimar महसूस करने का एक सामान्य तरीका है. So, if you're not feeling your best, you might tell a friend, "I'm feeling a bit under the weather today." To agar aap apna sarvshrest महसूस nayan kar rahe hain, to aap ek do sekti hain, main aaj toda under the weather महसूस kar raha hun. It's a more casual and less formal way of saying you're not feeling well. Yakne ka ek adik anopkarik aur kam apkarik trika hai ki aap acha महसूस nayan kar rahi hain. Ever noticed how people sometimes follow trends or join popular activities just because everyone else is doing it? क्या आपने कभी देखा है कि लोग कभी रुझानों का पालन करते हैं या लोकप्रिय गतिविधियों में शामिल होते हैं सिर्फ इसलिए कि हर कोई ऐसा कर रहा है? That's called jumping on the bandwagon. इसे bandwagon पर कूदना कहते हैं. Imagine a parade with a bandwagon carrying a band. कल्पना कीजिए एक परेड जिसमें एक bandwagon एक बैंड को ले जा रहा है. People might be drawn to the music and excitement and jump onto the bandwagon to join the fun. लोग संगीत और उत्साह की और आकर्षित हो सकते हैं और मजे में शामिल होने के लिए bandwagon पर कूद सकते हैं. So when we say someone jumps on the bandwagon, we mean they're joining a trend or activity that's already popular. 2. JB हम कहते हैं कि कोई bandwagon पर कूदा है, तो हमारा mental है कि वे एक रुझान या गतिविधि में शामिल हो रहे हैं जो पहले से ही लोकप्रिय है. For example, you might say, "Everyone's investing in cryptocurrency these days." उदाहरण के लिए, आप कहते हैं, आजकल हर कोई cryptocurrency में निवेश कर रहा है. It seems like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. ऐसा लगता है कि हर कोई bandwagon पर कूद रहा है. Finally, let's end on a sweet note. When we say something is a piece of cake, kek ka tagda, we mean it's very easy to do, but asan hai. Imagine a delicious, fluffy piece of cake. Svadist, pula hua kek ka tagda. It's easy to eat, right? Kana asan hai na? It doesn't require much effort. Ismen jyada ment niyan lugti. So if you find a task or an exam effortless, agar aapko koi kamyab pariksa asan luga, you might say, "That was a piece of cake, wo tikek ka tugda da." It's a way of expressing that you found something simple and straightforward. Ye batane ka ek trika hai ki aapko kuch sul aur seedha laga. That's it for today's idiom extravaganza. Aaj ke muhavre ke utsav ke libabs itna hi. We've covered a lot of ground, from burning the midnight oil, rat bar jaka padyayi kana, to finding things as easy as a piece of cake, but asan. Remember, learning idioms takes time and practice. Yaad rakhin, muhavre seekhne mein sme aur abhyas lagta hai. The best way to master them is to use them in your everyday conversations, even if it feels a bit awkward at first. उन्हें सीखने का सबसे अच्छा तरीका है कि आप उन्हें अपनी रोजमर्रा की बातचीत में इस्तेमाल करें, भले ही ये फले थोड़ा अजीब लगे. Don't be afraid to experiment and have fun with it. प्रयोग करें और इसका आनंद लेने से न डरें. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, अंगूठा ऊपर, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the Skiani channel for more language learning adventures. और अधिक भाषा सीखने के रोमांच के लिए Skiani channel को सब्सक्राइब करें. Until next time, happy learning. अगली बार ठीक है, खुशहाल सीखना.